Let's talk about the musculoskeletal research group here in the department. They do research on the lower extremity, the spine and the shoulder. Can you give us some insights?
Yeah, so we have a big musculoskeletal group here. We have some other research groups as well, but I think on motion capture the focus is more on the musculoskeletal group. The lower extremity group is we have like 2 professors in it. So one is working on the knee, of the area around the knee, hip, and the other one is working around the ankle and the foot. So when I started here, one of the first projects was to buy a 3D motion capture system and work with Sophie on her PhD to create a multi-segment foot model. So together with Veerle and Sophie, we created a 6-segment foot model, and we uses that for clinical patient groups, applications, but also for chronic ankle instability measurements. So it's quite interesting to implement a multi-segment foot model into the lab.
Your own multi-segment foot
yes,
model?
Our own. It's
the Ghent foot model?
It's a Ghent foot model, we call it. It's from 2012. And it's interesting to learn new things, of course, but also see what it can bring us in later studies. And now we will go in the near future again using it on different patient groups or sporters and combine it. That's the goal with full body measurements and the foot model segment. So the thing would be that we need more cameras, of course, to do that.
Okay.
But then we can combine it probably with the sports sciences. So that should be great.
And the spine?
The spine group, it's also 2 professors are working on it, one on the cervical spine and the other on the lower back. And on the low back group, we are working with low back pain patients and see how motion capture or kinematics, but also on muscle function, if they differs with healthy controls. So we look at timing of back muscles and belly muscles during some feet forward or feet backward activities. What we like to do is a feet forward activity like rapid arm movement. So you have an internal perturbation, we call it like that, and see how the timing of the different muscles are acting. We know it's different than like people without back pain. And we also look at MRI images to see where the differences are and how we can adapt our therapy to make them better, really. Another task we do is a quick force release test. It's the same, that they are sitting in an active position but fixated with their pelvis, and they have a load on their trunk in front or the back. So one of the groups, like the back groups or the belly muscle groups, are working and the others are off, and we will release a load and we check how the muscles are acting to keep their balance. And we also look there on timing purposes. We use the load cell as a cutoff and see what's the timing is of the different muscles. And we do that by the visual picking method. We randomize every trial, every muscle in MATLAB, and we score them or place manually a marker to see this is an onset or an offset, because it's depending, of course, on the movement.
And the shoulder group?
So our upper extremity group is working around the shoulder mostly, and Professor Ankols, she's working as a therapist and as a researcher, and she has a more applied focus on research. She would like to validate her exercises that they are used in therapy with 3D kinematics or EMG to see if the exercises he give are well to do, or is the load enough or not. So it's really the switch between research and therapy. So it's really a clinical approach, I think.
It's applied.
It's really applied, yes. So it's interesting because for me, I'm more on the research focus, and she's really on a clinical focus. So she needs me quite a lot to help her with telling her that she don't have to be afraid for 3D kinematics or other instruments. So that's quite nice.
What I really like is that I saw before you combine fine wire EMG with 3D kinematics. Can we have a look at that?
Of course, we can set up a measurement if you want.
What project is it?
It's a project for Kelly Bergmans. She's doing her PhD for Anne. So she's doing different kind of exercises where she do some extra rotation and elevations on a firm surface like a chair, or on an unstable surface like the exercise ball. And she wants to look if we adapt the balance or the surface, if it's you work harder with some muscles or not, and can we implement that in therapy. So it's a really clinical focus on her research as well. So for the shoulder group, it's a really clinical group, we call it, but they use motion capture systems and other interesting measurement systems to see how they can implement exercises in their rehab. I think that's the main part of their questions, and they try to validate it through the research here.
Thank you, Tanneke. We got very interesting insights into the research of the lab here, but there's also a very new, very innovative project here at the university, and you're also involved in it.
I think it's like 3 years ago they asked me to come and sit together within the meeting where they would talk about new innovative techniques for the care for the hospital, and they were thinking about the smart space, they call it, and they would like to bring new technologies into rehab and care. And we sit together, and it was really nice because they were talking about motion capture systems and treadmills and virtual reality applications, and so I was there just to give some information about systems that are existing, and then they didn't tell me if they had money or not, so I just went big. And I said, I think if you want to go really big, you should try to get a funding for a Grail system, and it's we call it a Gate Real-Time Analysis Interactive Lab. It's a system from MoTech. The Grail system is an split belt treadmill, instrumented treadmill with a motion capture system. So 10 cameras around it, and a virtual world from you have a screen from 180 degrees. So you're really into an application. And the good thing is that you have like assessments where you can treat your patients or train them, but it's really like training applications, so you're not really measuring, but you just let them walk or do some postural stability measurements during a game, really, with markers or with forces or on the treadmill. And otherwise you can do the applications or the assessments of their gait, so do a real gait analysis or balance assessment. And I talked to my colleagues with that, and they were thinking about it, and 3 years later they found the funding for that, and we created Smart Place, and it's now installed for a few weeks here. So it's really, yeah, it's a new toy really for me, where I can play with. And,
nice toy.
It's a really nice toy as well. And yeah, the first thing what we would like to do is to embed it in the hospital. So patients that are treated here can use it for treatment. And the second job is to embed it in the research part as well. So every patient that is coming will be part of research. So there are a lot of new things we can do, and we would like to.
Can we have a look at it?
Of course, I can show you around, so no problem.
Cool. Tanneke, thank you so much for having us here and giving us so much insights into your daily work and the research and also the smart place. Wonderful, absolutely amazing.
You're welcome.
Can we visit you again
sometime
once the smart place is established?
Well, the smart place is almost established, but the opening will be in September, so I will send you an invitation.
Oh yes.
And you can come over to look at the smart place, but to drink some beers as well. So
smart place and beers?
Of course.
I'm in.
Perfect. Belgian beers, what's better.
What a great interview with Tanneke Palmans. If you want to see more interviews like that, hit the subscribe button. Make sure to hit the notification bell to get the latest updates. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments. See you next time.